1,
2,
3,
4.
How many n***s are in my store?
I won't allow it! Clean up! Register 6!
I'm not good at intros, so I'm just gonna be honest. Dead Rising is one of the best games Capcom has ever made. It had some of the best visuals and sound design of its time. The amount of fully rendered zombies on screen is still impressive to this day, but a relatively strict time limit, save system, and a frustrating and uncooperative AI system stops it from becoming a true masterpiece. All in all, Dead Rising is definitely worth playing.
Hurt! That's just what this bitch said when she came to vandalize my store!
During the development of Resident Evil 4, Keiji Inafune was concerned that the traditional interpretations of zombies would go away. Inafune was known for his involvement in the classic game franchise Mega Man, so with the creation of Dead Rising, the focus would be on the zombies and getting as many on screen as humanly possible. A lot of the game's inspiration comes from George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, so much so that in 2008, the MKR Group filed a lawsuit against Capcom for similarities to the 1979 horror classic. The judge would ultimately dismiss the case, stating that the concept of zombies in a shopping mall was not a, quote, protected element. That definitely didn't stop Capcom from covering their bases. So what the hell's going on in this game anyway?
Alright, listen. Don't forget to come back for me.
As long as you're not dead, Fred.
It's Frank. Frank West. Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days, when I get the scoop.
Zombies have completely taken over the made-up town of Willamette, Colorado, and freelance photojournalist Frank West has 3 days to figure out what happened. There's an allegory about America's constant need to feed its ever-growing population in a government conspiracy. But that's pretty much it in terms of story. The characters aren't much to write home about either. Everyone feels like they came straight out of a B-movie zombie film. And maybe that was the point. TJ Rotolo's performance as Frank West does stand out, for all the right reasons.
I've covered wars, you know.
Using a firearm for self-defense is our God-given right as Americans, Thomas.
Come on, Thomas, shoot. Shoot him.
Shoot him, Thomas!
Said shoot him.
Dead Rising is one of the few games where if you see something that you should be able to pick up, chances are it can be used as a weapon. The shopping mall provides endless possibilities as to what players can interact with. Anything from potted plants to skateboards to cash registers. And every item feels responsive and weighted accordingly, if not a little exaggerated. Frank can also take pictures. These pictures range from the comedic to the more salacious. The more zombies you kill and pictures you take add up to your prestige point meter. Once the meter fills, Frank will level up and gain new abilities and stat boosts, like health and strength. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah, bosses. They're actually called psychopaths, people who've lost their minds during the outbreak, and fighting them is some of the best parts of the game. Some psychos are ridiculously hard and can't be beaten on the first playthrough. There are also psychos you can completely miss out on due to time constraints. Every battle is accompanied by this obscure alternative music that you've probably never heard of, with the standouts being Life Seeker's Gone Guru, Hostile Groove's Fly Retained, Lockjaw's Born Again, and Slave by the Evolutionaries.
Damn it, I warned you. In a situation like this, I can't afford to trust nobody.
One of my biggest issues with the game is its save system. It only allows you to save at specific areas in the mall. There's also a universal countdown clock where key plot points can end if you don't get to your destination in time. And let's not forget about survivors.
Come on!
There's no two ways around it. Saving survivors is frustrating. Forcing players to make decisions on whether to spend their time saving survivors or gathering resources is one thing. Wrestling with uncooperative AI is another.
Follow me! Follow me! Follow me!
Despite these issues, Dead Rising is amazing. It's a perfect example of Capcom at their best. You can tell that the people involved had so much passion for what they were working on by the amount of detail that they put into it. As open worlds become bigger and more expansive, it's important to realize that subtlety and attention to detail is what makes a game stand the test of time.
Have a nice day.